Okay, so you probably heard this already. Terminator 1 good, Terminator 2 amazing, and Terminators 3, 4, and 5 shit. The lack of consistency in the series is mainly due to the fact that studio execs saw how profitable the franchise was and wanted to continue making Terminator films disregarding the seemingly definitive ending of T2. The problem with most of the sequels after T2, however, is that they just recycle the same general story over and over again and didn't really add anything new or interesting enough to separate them from the first two movies. A Terminator always gets sent to the past to kill someone that another Terminator has to protect to save the future. Terminator Salvation is the only sequel that actually departed from that plot layout and went for the future setting story that most people thought T3 would have. Unfortunately, I can't say much about it since it's literally the only one in the series that I haven't seen, but from what I've heard, it might not even be worth it. So anyway, now we have Terminator Dark Fate, the sixth film in the franchise, or the fourth attempt to revitalize the series, depending on how you look at it. This film takes place after T2 and starts a new timeline that disregards all the other sequels. And I'm just gonna say it, I thought this film was bland and plays it way too safe. And where it doesn't play it safe, it shits on the legacy of the first two movies. The main issue here is the story. After so many sequels and failed attempts, why would you try to repeat the same story structure again if you know it's going to be almost impossible to rival the success of the first two movies? Gabriel Luna plays another version of the T-1000, and Mackenzie Davis plays the classic Protector Terminator. They've added new gimmicks like making the evil Terminator have the power to duplicate, and making the good Terminator a human-machine hybrid. But little changes like that don't automatically separate the film from the ones before it. Linda Hamilton and Arnold Schwarzenegger are back, which made the movie a bit better, but they act as if we haven't seen their characters since T2, and certain callbacks are supposed to be these big, fan-pleasing nostalgia bomb moments, and well...
It's not. This is Terminator sequel number 5 and continuity reboot number 4, at least, you know? Oh yeah, I'll be back. We know you've been back like 5 times before. You keep being back. It's not cute anymore. Sorry.
Don't get me wrong, this isn't a bad movie. As a Terminator film, it's bad. But on its own, it's just a competently made movie that's somewhat entertaining. It doesn't subvert expectations or do anything new with the formula that would surprise fans, which is why I feel like it's such a big letdown. The action scenes are fun to watch, and they attempt to give characters like the new female Terminator more depth, but they do it in the most boring ways. Like, they'll have a scene where two characters start to talk, and you can tell it's just one big exposition dump to get certain information to the audience. They also do something that affects the lore of T2 that I think kinda shits upon the legacy of the characters. It happens really early in the film, but since this isn't a spoiler review, I won't mention it here. But you'll know what it is if you've seen the movie. The new character they're supposed to be protecting to save the future was okay, but I didn't really buy her importance to the story, if that makes sense. I feel like they're never gonna recapture the same Terminator-human relationship that Arnold and John Connor had in T2. If this movie is successful enough to warrant a sequel, I really think they should overhaul the entire creative process for these films. Maybe give the next movie a new visual style or think of a new type of Terminator that doesn't feel like the T-1000. I would at least suggest going back to the more grounded, gritty style of the first two movies. I feel like Dark Fate and Genesis were trying really hard to be these big action epics like the Marvel movies and have forgotten their roots. Big action like this is not what made those movies special. Yes, the action scenes are crazy and fun to watch, but they make the movies feel less real than they used to.
That's what was so scary about it. It was a real machine that you could technically destroy, but you can't with the weapons you have. You got a shotgun, you got a penknife. You can't beat this Volkswagen that's coming to kill you. Once it became a super hero basically trying to kill you, it lost a lot. Yeah. And people didn't see it because Cameron did such a great job.
I also think they need to stop relying on legacy characters at this point and create new ones that people would like to see carry on the story, kind of like what Star Wars did with The Force Awakens. I think we would have looked at this movie in a better light if it didn't come with all the baggage of its previous sequels, which is why the next one, if it happens, has to be the Thor Ragnarok of the series, if you know what I mean.
Look at the ad campaign for Dark Fate. It's great that Linda Hamilton's back, but if you put that aside, does it look that different than Genesis, you know?
So yeah, I'm gonna give Terminator Dark Fate a 5.5 out of 10. Comment below your thoughts on the movie, and I'll see you guys in the next video.